Good evening. Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We're live in Abuja. I am Ruth Aguele. Thank you for joining us. Let's begin with security matters in furtherance of efforts at finding lasting solutions to the challenges of security in the North-East sub-region. President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to the North-East Governors Forum. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the meeting is coming few days after members of the forum met in Maiduguri and resolved to collaborate more effectively with the federal government towards the restoration of the desired peace enterprise in the region. President Buhari informed the meeting, also attended by service chiefs and heads of other security agencies, that his administration is not leaving anything to chance in the task of securing the zone for sustainable growth and development.
The general report I'm getting, other than the conventional one from the intelligence sources, is that the army should do better. And this is the truth. I assure you, Northeast governors, especially the governor of Borno, that we go to bed and we wake up thinking about you and how to secure our country, because that is the fundamental responsibility of a government, security. And our party, we recognize this. We campaign on the three fundamental issues: security, economy, and fighting corruption. Nigerians, we thank God, understood us and they voted us in. I assure you that the government is doing its best and will continue to do our best.
All right, following that development, let's now join our Maiduguri Network Center for more update on Northeast activities, and Abubakar will guide us.
Good afternoon, Ruth, and thanks for joining us. As part of the 3-day official engagement of the Northeast Governors Forum in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, members of the forum had visited the headquarters of the Northeast Development Commission to ensure work has commenced. Yagum Subukar reports.
The visit to the Northeast Development Commission headquarters by the Northeast Governors Forum in Maiduguri was also to appreciate the efforts of the Commission in terms of infrastructural development and livelihood support it has been rendering to the region. Pioneer chairman of the forum, who is also the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, informed that government and people of the Northeast are willing to get all the maximum benefits from the Commission and appealed for interventions to be carried out in a demand-driven approach.
Contracts and others need to be awarded to people in the region so that it will enhance their means of livelihood. Government of the region has to interface with the Northeast Development Commission with a view to conceiving ideas first of all.
Managing Director, Northeast Development Commission, Mohammed Goni Al-Kadi, while acknowledging the visit by the Northeast governors, sought for more support from members of the forum to enable the commission work effectively in the region.
For any fund or any endowment fund, there must be some guideline which would drive it. And we have done a very robust guideline that will cut across all the needs of the Northeast states.
Members of the Northeast Governors Forum were then taken around various offices within the premises by the Managing Director, NEDC. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum says the Northeast Governors Forum is ready to give all the support needed towards bringing meaningful development in the region. He was speaking when the technical committee of the forum, accompanied by members of the Northeast Development Commission and focal persons of the Northeast region, led by Secretary to Gombe State Government Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Jodi, called on him at the Government House, Maiduguri. Mohammed Goni has more details.
As governors, he said, they cannot do anything without the support of the committee and urged them to come up with a working plan that will enable them to execute meaningful development, adding that their periodic meetings should be maintained. The governor emphasized that they should bury their differences and work towards the development of the region, which he explained has abundant land for agriculture and livestock, among others, saying the youth of the region can be engaged to address restiveness.
There is not any region in this country that has abundant arable and fertile land than the Northeast region.
Professor Obagana Umar lamented over dilapidated structures such as road networks linking most of the region and the country in general. The governor then expressed gratitude to them for the concern shown over the incident in Baga and the death of prominent personalities in the state. Chairman of the technical committee, who is also secretary to Gombe State government, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar Njodi, said the idea of forming the technical committee and the NEDC focal persons was conceived during governor's meeting in Gombe, and 3 persons per state were selected. He explained that they were in the state for 4 days and worked out plans for the governor's deliberations and thanked Governor Zulum for giving them the necessary support and cooperation. Professor Njodi condoled with the governor over the recent attack in Baga and the demise of prominent personalities in the state. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
You're on to Nationwide from Maiduguri. Time now to return to Abuja for more stories. So, Ruth, it's back to you now.
Thank you, Abubakar. Let's turn our attention to electoral matters. Ahead of October 10 governorship election in Ondo State, some chieftains of All Progressives Congress have agreed to join forces towards the re-election of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. Now, this was the fallout of a peace meeting held in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Let's now hear from Olubukola Aduwo.
The meeting tagged New Beginning, which had some governorship aspirants in the July 20 APC governorship primary election, and other aggrieved leaders of the party in attendance, was held behind closed door. At the end of the meeting, one of the aspirants, Isaac Kekemeke, explained the rationale behind the meeting, which he described as strategic for the success of the party and its candidates in the October 10 governorship election in the state.
We have come together as a strong, united party, ready to win again. Governor Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu is fit for the job, is going again for the second time to fulfill all what he has started.
The incumbent governor, who is also seeking re-election, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, said the need to close ranks with all the aspirants, leaders and members of the party for them to speak with one voice is crucial towards the victory of the party in the election.
All presumed tendencies in APC have all come together to agree to work together.
Other leaders of the party, including the Senate Deputy Leader, Professor Ajayi Borofis, said the meeting has shown that every member of the party is ready to work for the re-election of Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
Still on electoral matters, we know September 19 is slated for Edo governorship elections. Well, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have urged INEC and the security agencies to wield the big stick towards curtailing the excesses of political actors before, during and after the polls. Abdusalam Jibril has details.
Election-related violence, sadly, has been a major feature of Nigeria's electioneering process. And this trend is already being witnessed in the build-up to the Edo governorship elections. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria emphasized the neutrality of security agencies and the electoral umpire, saying they must take punitive measures against erring political actors to serve as deterrent.
Somebody made a statement that is careless, that is inciting the public to violence. Why is the person not arrested? Any person who is threatening violence should be seen as affronting the Nigerian state. And the Nigerian state is supposed to have the responsibility to make sure every citizen is law-abiding.
It is not high-energy drama. These are persons who are consciously breaking the law. You see, and it appears that our law enforcement is just, it's just mere talk. No, it's not mere talk. It's criminalized conduct.
The two biggest stakeholders there are the political parties themselves. So the politicians, clearly, and then, of course, the security agencies. I'm not so impressed, and I'm duly cautious here with these two, segments of stakeholders.
INEC, on its part, is deploying modern technology, particularly in the collation process, to reduce rancor and ensure a seamless process.
If you are a serious candidate, and you want to know the outcome, all you need to do is to deploy your staff to view this portal and take down the results.
The Commission also maintains that it is meeting with all the relevant stakeholders in Edo State towards ensuring a violence-free and smooth conduct of the election. In Abuja, Abdusalam Jibril, NTA News.
Well, entrenching peace and security of any nation is both the function of government and the citizens themselves. Now, this was the position. This position was a thrust of a conversation by a cross-section of Nigerian politicians who believe that government must be supported in her efforts towards securing the lives of its people. Timothy Yusuf reports.
This assembly, comprising civil society organizations, political bodies and youth groups, seeks for the resurgence of conscience and ensuring justice prevails against incessant cases of violence in some parts of the country.
Our God, the Almighty God, designed Nigeria for greatness, to grow into a superpower among nations.
Affirmatively, we are saying that we have not given birth to robots. We have given birth to human beings that are teachable, that are changeable, developable, and transformable.
The youth groups is believed to have a critical role to play in ensuring a peaceful environment, especially in the area of advocacy and the need to refrain from being used as political thugs.
We have all it takes constitutionally and otherwise to address this situation.
Participants believe that building a new and progressive Nigeria is possible with high level of patriotism. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Let's go on our first break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, FNCS, FBCS, FIIM, cordially invites you to the second phase of the virtual commissioning of projects under the digital economic sector. Tertiary Institution Knowledge Center, TIKC, Delta State University, Abraka, School Knowledge Center, SKC, Government Day Secondary School, Hazan Centra, Gombe State, eHealth Data Sharing Center, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU, Bauchi, Virtual Examination Center, Unimaid, University of Maiduguri, Emergency Communications Center, ECC, Ilorin, Kwara State, Emergency Communications Center, ECC, Calabar, Cross River State, Information Technology Innovation and Incubation Park, University, Ayangba, Kogi State, Information Technology Capacity Building Center, College of Education, Gumel, Jigawa, Information Technology Capacity Building Center, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State, New Neighborhood Post Office, Nassau Microfinance Bank Branch, Delta State, remodeled National Mail Exchange Center, Mbiama, Ahodo West Local Government Area, River State. The projects are part of developing digital economy for a digital Nigeria. Date Tuesday, 11th August 2020. Time 11 a.m. Announcer, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy.
On Tuesday and Live this week, taxation and economy. Impact of effective tax system. What are the success stories, challenges and projections? What is in place to block leakages and encourage more buying with a stamp duty? Join us on NTA Tuesday Live at 10:30 p.m. for answers and more. Don't miss it.
Advocacy and NTA say you can help Nigeria to flatten the curve on COVID-19, just as you can help flatten the curve on corruption. Follow transparency, accountability, and integrity just as you follow health guidelines. Stay home with integrity and maintain your distance from corruption, just as you stay away from COVID-19 by maintaining social distance. Report every act of corruption to ICPC, just as you report COVID-19 to NCDC. corruption, stay safe from COVID-19. Report any act of corruption to ICPC on toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Thank you for staying with us. A State Action Plan Committee adopting United Nations template to end gender-based violence and promote peace has begun work with the inauguration by the Nasarawa State Government. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports.
The UN Action Plan Against Gender-Based Violence has Action Aid and other NGOs championing the initiative as Nasarawa joins 11 other states.
We are willing to continue to work with the state government to ensure that every woman, every girl in Nasarawa State is liberated from the influence and effect of violent extremism and increase sustainable development.
The UN SRCR 1325 was a landmark resolution which affirmed the important role of women in prevention and resolution of conflict.
Governor Abdullahi Sule says all forms of crime against women and children must stop. He says the state government will give adequate support to the committee to succeed, as he urged stakeholders to support the campaign. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
And still on gender-based violence, statistics from the National Human Rights Commission indicates that Nigeria experienced an increase in the cases of rape of women and sexual assault of minors since coronavirus pandemic started. Female virtual artists in the country have therefore reason to join the growing campaign against the evil practice by organizing an exhibition of artworks depicting the negative effects of sexual and gender-based violence in the society. Olabode Arewa has more.
The aftermath of sexual assault or rape can be extremely difficult, with painful emotions and experiences for the victims. Chinze Ojobo, a visual artist, shares the story of how the sexual molestation of a neighbor's daughter changed her perspective.
We need to make the women understand, and also at the same time, we're using this to also show that we can use art, to treat and to heal people, that have been victims of this rape.
Such pathetic story inspired these artists to put together this art exhibition to draw attention to the dangers of sexual and gender-based violence.
There isn't enough, template. There isn't enough action plan to discuss issues for people who have survived rape, to get counseling or to get some sort of outlet for expression. And so hence the need for this art.
The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and the National Human Rights Commission have also lent their voices to the cry of the artists.
To the victims, you are victorious. You are no longer victims. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Always learn to speak out.
Rape and STD are gross violations of human rights, and they also affect the right to human dignity, the right to life.
The central theme of the art exhibition, which is Stand Up and Speak Out Against Rape, urges parents, victims, and the society at large to always remember that there is a just remedy for anyone affected by sexual assault, and victims can recover and gain their lives back. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Still on the fight against rape, let's join Debabari in Port Harcourt for more. Debabari.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Comprehensive training of personnel and diligent investigations are among the new strategies Akwa Ibom State Police Command is adopting to stem the tide of rape and cultism in the state. Already these tactics are paying off as more perpetrators of rape and cultism are being arrested daily. State Commissioner of Police Imoimi Edgar says the command is prepared more than ever before to nip the crimes in the bud. Clement Bariquin reports.
2 months after the Akwa Ibom State Police Command launched manhunt for perpetrators of rape, defilement, and cultism, hardly does a week passes by without the police announcing more arrests. Just last week, for instance, the State Police Command arrested 20 suspects for cultism and murder in Ining Clan, Oroganam local government area, while 6 were grilled for rape in different parts of the state. The breakthrough continues, and the Commissioner of Police, Imoemi Edgar, believes it will send strong signal to criminally minded persons that the police is out for them.
So our cases are now being properly investigated, because one of the major issues we had before was not only reporting the cases, was diligently investigating to get necessary evidence and fact to take before the court for prosecution.
This message of no to rape and cultism by the police has further been extended to the grassroots through the Community Policing Advisory Committee.
We've been able to restore peace and tranquility in a tenant.
The police is optimistic that when every member of the society is involved, rape and cult activities will be minimized. In Uyo, Clement Barakui, NTA News.
Giant strides of the Cross-River State government in its industrial revolution policy is eliciting interest from various organizations within and outside Nigeria. This time, an Israeli-Nigerian firm is seeking partnership with the state government in the management of some of its agro-based industries and production of food as well as cash crops. Paul Abel reports.
With 50 years of experience in agriculture, the organization views Cross River State as one of the best locations to invest in due to conscious efforts in establishing several agro-allied industries. Apart from indicating interest to manage the chicken and feed mill factories, it will also engage in the production of maize, rice, potatoes, and tomatoes using modern digital tools for improved yields.
I am sure you will develop and deepen the discussion with the Commission of Agriculture and the Commission of Lands and let them come back with proposals to me. I will review it alongside with the consultant and see what you bring.
When the partnership is fully implemented, it is expected that farmers and the state will benefit in managing, producing, and financing agricultural production in collaboration with the Central Bank of Nigeria. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Federal High Court sitting in Port Harcourt has convicted 2 foreign nationals and 1 Nigerian for suppression of information on piracy in the nation's maritime, with a fine of 60 million naira after pleading guilty to the charges brought against them by the federal government. Kingsley Amadi reports that 6 of the 9 defendants were discharged for want of evidence.
The 9 defendants were initially brought before the court in a 7-count charge of aiding and abetting terrorism, concealment of vital information, possession of illegal firearms, among others, by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. The prosecution, however, amended the charges at the resumed hearing to a 2-count charge under the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act of 2019. When the amended charges were read before the court, the 3 convicts pleaded guilty to the offense of concealing vital information on piracy. Justice Mohammed Sani subsequently sentenced Binebi, Johnson, David Lehman, and Gena Gordon of the offenses as amended, with a fine of 10 million naira for each of the offenses.
Some pleaded guilty to some of the charges and some of the charges were dropped. Personally, I'm not satisfied with the fine that was levied, but we will consult and take a decision.
Prior to the judgment, Justice Sani had also declined granting the convicts bail as applied by their counsel. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
We are done from Port Harcourt. It's for Ruth in Abuja. Good evening.
Welcome back to Abuja. Let's look at update on COVID-19. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced 437 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. A breakdown of the new cases recorded in 16 states, including the FCT, shows that Lagos has 107, FCT 91, Plateau 81, Kaduna 32, Ogun 30, Kwara 24, Ebonyi 19, Ekiti 17, Oyo 8, Borno and Edo 6 each, Kano 4, Nasarawa, Oshun and Taraba have 3 cases each, Gombe 2, Bauchi 1. The new record brings the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country to 46,577, with 33,186 discharged and 945 deaths recorded. A look at education. Senior secondary schools in Ekiti State have reopened in preparation for the school certificate examinations, including WAEC. Kende Durodola reports that the Governor, Kayode Fayemi, monitored schools across the state and directed compliance with the COVID-19 protocols in all schools.
After about 4 months of schools closure due to the novel coronavirus pandemic, senior secondary school students in the exit class resume in the state in preparations for their final year examinations. Visits to some schools in Advocacy, the state capital, showed compliance with COVID-19 guidelines as students were in high spirits to be back in the schools, while teachers said they are not leaving anything to chances to ensure the success of students in the examinations.
The school has placed facilities all around the school. They've also ensured that there is social distancing among students.
I think with this thing our teachers know to teach us now, it's going to really help us combine with the online lessons.
We also made sure that all the teaching and the non-teaching staff use their face masks together with the students.
So most of the topics have already been covered. So for this week, we have to revise.
The state governor, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, had earlier inspected some schools across the state to ascertain level of preparedness in line with rules of COVID-19 for the resumption. The Chairman Council of Traditional Rulers, Obadeban Jalabi, emphasized the need for students, school authorities, and other key players to be circumspect in their conduct as the state eases the lockdown for the reopening of schools and worship centers in the state. In Advocacy, Kende Durodola, NTA News.
We hear good news in Uyo as 26 more COVID-19 patients have been treated and discharged by the Akwa Ibom state government. Susan Asukwa reports that the state government at the moment has only one active COVID-19 patient in its isolation center in Ibom multi-specialty hospital and a few others in other facilities.
The fight against the coronavirus pandemic is still on across the globe. While the gradual opening of the economy and relaxation of lockdown seems to be causing a spike in the number of infected persons, Akwa Ibom state government is recording more wins in the fight against the virus. With 26 more COVID-19 patients treated and discharged at the Ibom multi-specialty hospital, Uyo, it is an indication that effort of the state government and huge resources sunk in to fight the dreaded virus is not in vain. One of the recovered persons, Mfonobong Ekanam, said she is one of those who never believed that COVID-19 is real.
I was called and told that my test result was positive. Heaven knows that I cried for one whole day because I was like, something that I never believed existed.
We are happy because we are not reporting any death.
The duty of care passes to individual responsibility. We must be responsible.
The management of these diseases is also successfully being taken. The tests are available.
So far in Akwa Ibom State, 198 COVID-19 patients have been treated and discharged, with 29 active cases still receiving treatment and awaiting discharge soon. Susan Asukwa, NTA News.
It's time to join Felicia in Jos. She has more reports for us on Nationwide. Felicia?
Thank you, Ruth. Welcome to Jos. Following the spike in cases of COVID-19, Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Human Virology, Dr. Patrick Dakum, says the institute is proactively working in providing the needed technical support in the fight against the pandemic. Dr. Dakum was on a visit to the Plateau State Human Virology Center located within the Plateau State Specialist Hospital, Jos. Caleb Guchin reports.
The Plateau Human Virology Research Center is one of the internationally recognized institutions in the forefront in the research and laboratory diagnosis of diseases like HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis. The visit of the Chief Executive Officer, therefore, could be described as eventful, Safety officer of the center gave the assurance of the center's capacity to give accurate results of tests being conducted given the standard of its equipment. The visit over, Dr. Dakum could not but share his heart's concerns about the attitude of the citizenry towards the ravaging coronavirus.
I have noticed that a few people have masks, majority don't. I think it is a sign of disservice to other people when you approach people without wearing a face mask. When you come with people, you are wearing your face mask and you want to speak, don't bring it down in order to speak to them. By bringing it down, you have damaged the reason for wearing it. So if there is any infectious agent that you are carrying, when you bring it down to speak, you are speaking out the virus and you are putting other people in danger.
From the submission of the Chief Executive Officer, it is expected that Plateau State will soon add to the number of COVID-19 testing centers in the state for the good of all. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
To bridge the gender gap indices in Nigeria, civil society organizations and other women groups in Plateau State are advocating equity instead of equality in every aspect of life. One of such groups is the Women Rights Advancement and Protection Alternative, who convened a meeting with key players to confer on the issues and profile workable solutions. Renred Silvanus Lott has details.
While Nigeria still grapples with gender issues and building a just society void of discrimination regardless of gender, this meeting is seeking ways to build up formidable forces that will push for the implementation of policies that allow a platform for women and girls to operate on a level ground in all spheres of society. One of such laws is the Gender and Equal Opportunity Bill, which harmonizes most gender bills and has already been passed into law but not implemented. A PowerPoint presentation by the facilitator showed a wide gap where women are already disadvantaged in areas of education, economy, and health.
We should not also look at gender as if it's only women issues. It's any person that is socially kind of not carried along in a particular development issue.
Let the men know that we are fighting for equity, not even equality. And when we sensitize the men, we sensitize the women will now know their rights. The men will now know that they are supposed to support the women. And when the two work together, we'll have a perfect family.
The Commissioner of Women Affairs and the women representative in the State Assembly were on ground to lend support to the women. In Jos, Renred Silvanus Lott, NTA News.
Time now for a break. Nationwide continues shortly in Abuja.
She cries. She cries in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry means nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she's left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their cruelty. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can Feed the Rich.
Thank you for staying with us. The National Population Commission has launched the automation of birth registration and digitization of civil registration and vital statistics. Omenka Marachuko reports that the launch commemorates the 2020 Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics.
In recent times, Nigeria has come under the reality of keeping poor demographic data for planning and development purposes. To address this setback, the National Population Commission is taking the bull by the horn in ensuring that proper birth and death records are kept. Challenged by 43% birth registration profile and 10% death records annually, the Commission is collaborating with relevant stakeholders to review strategies of ensuring a new regime of accurate data formulation with 2020 African Civil Registration at the front burner.
The only way that we can give an accurate figure for the population of Nigeria is when we conduct a census. All we can do in our circumstance is to carry out projections and give estimates. And by the projection that we have done, mid-year 2020, we are 206.3 million persons in Nigeria. And from our own projection, we are now growing at an average annual rate of 2.55%.
Today's commemoration is a large legacy of the vision of the first conference of African ministers responsible for civil registration held in Addis Ababa in 2010, which marked the beginning of coordinated and integrated efforts towards improving civil registration and vital statistics in Africa.
The registration of vital events of birth and death rate will be used to provide information on possible strategies to the Commission. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
Environment is next. More trees for healthier environment are in the offing in Abuja as Rotary Club embarks on a tree planting exercise in the Federal Capital Territory. Onenge Fine Faces on that.
Tree planting is the seventh area of focus of Rotary International, and this year's exercise is intended to support biological diversity by increasing the number of trees in the Federal Capital Territory. It's the joint effort of Rotary Clubs of Abuja Prestige and Wuse Central in partnership with the FCT Department of Parks and Recreation.
Trees are very important to the human existence. Planting trees encourages biodiversity. An adage says that if you want to hear the sound of birds, don't buy cages, but plant trees. Anywhere there is trees, biodiversity sets in. And trees help in mitigating the effect of climate change.
Every person, landlord, Nigerians, as long as you are alive, try to plant a tree. Whether within your premises or on your farm or on your streets or anywhere you can plant and make sure that you water the tree for it to go, and so that the environment will be better off for it.
Trees planted during the exercise will be nurtured to maturity and serve as reference points to encourage more people to plant trees to support the environment. In Abuja, Onengiye Fine Face, NTA News.
Widespread apathy among Nigerians for indigenous technologies have been identified as the bane of the nation's science and technology sector. Well, despite government's commitment towards Nigeria's technological advancement, investment in that sector from the private sector has not been quite impressive. Amici Pius examined some challenges in the sector in Enugu State.
Nigeria's socio-economic prosperity has over the years been tied to a monoproduct crude oil, even as successive governments have made efforts to explore other non-oil areas to grow the economy. Science and technology is one sector with huge potential for the nation's economic growth and development. This sector has suffered years of poor funding, investors' apathy, and Nigerians' penchant for foreign scientific innovations over the locally developed technologies. In Enugu State, the Scientific Equipment Development Institute is one agency that has continued to provide science equipment for Nigeria's industrial growth.
Because we are more interested in foreign products. So that is why, research is very costly. So I think that is what is actually the problem of R&D in the country.
Thousands of operators of small and medium enterprises have benefited from the Institute's technologies. Government, through the Technology Incubation Center in Enugu, is also providing a platform for research and development through the commercialization of technological innovations, as explained by the manager of the center.
We have an entrepreneur who developed fire retardant, wood cell cure. We were able to link him with Peace Mass. There was an agreement, and Peace has taken over and generated over 2,500 jobs.
Watchers of the industry believe that a lot more can be achieved when government policies are geared towards promoting a considerable investment from the private sector in research and development for the development of scientific equipment. In Enugu, Amechi Piracy, NTA News.
Still talking indigenous technology, while Nigeria is making breakthrough in research and development, indigenous technologies with many local geniuses coming up with great ideas and inventions, which, if properly harnessed, can solve the country's socio-economic challenges. Well, funding has, however, been described as one of the challenges of technologies indigenous technologies. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim examines efforts by government to handle challenge of research and funding of indigenous technologies.
Year in, year out, individuals and institutions put in their time and resources to turn out brilliant ideas and creations which could be the solution to some of Nigeria's problems in environment, health, agriculture, education, infrastructure, among others. Most times, however, these inventions end up on the shelves as prototype, mainly due to lack of funding. Even with the 2020 capital expenditure for science and technology, which stands at about 37 billion naira, and other foreign and local grant, which is set to come with stringent conditions for applicants, experts say increased funding remains key for research and development of local content.
It will help in opening industries, small-scale industries, where you can see there are young innovators, people that are young. They have already acquired from schools. They have acquired from, skills acquisition centers.
In 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari signed an executive order for the promotion of Nigerian content, science, engineering and technology, which is expected to, among other things, encourage indigenous infrastructural producers with incentives including single-digit interest on loans.
Most of the research work that we do in the ministries are underfunded. We're trying to overcome it, to tell them, look, there's no need to fear.
With adequate funding of research and development of indigenous technologies, indigenous inventions can be sufficient for local and even international consumption and stand at par with foreign inventions. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
Let's look at other issues. Efforts are ongoing on resolving the crisis between the Lagos State government and Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, which has resulted in the withdrawal of the services of petroleum tanker drivers in the state. Dotun Ogunyemi has an update.
There have been a series of meetings between officials of NUPENG and the Lagos State government to resolve the issues centered around extortion and harassment by security agents, delays and bottlenecks in getting access to the ports, and the bad roads. The drivers who have withdrawn their services from midnight Monday were nowhere to be seen on their usual routes across the state, where about 75% of petroleum products are loaded.
The economy cannot be operated independent of human being. For the tanker driver that will go in there and pick this product, they too they are part of the economy. Not until all of them are died or become incapacitated before you think of what to do. The little action, the action they are putting on today is not because they want to hurt the economy, but to show their grievances to the government that things should not be done this way.
The union says it took the decision because of the failure of the Lagos State government to address the major issues causing the drivers pain. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The incessant cases of road traffic crashes caused by trucks and trailers have drawn the attention of traffic management authorities to effectively tackle the menace. The Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 2 Command in Lagos, in collaboration with other relevant agencies, has flagged off its latest strategy of Operation Scorpion in Lagos. Let's hear from Lynn Leneke.
Some of the major causes of road traffic crashes identified by the Federal Road Safety Corps include unlatched containers, overspeeding, disregard for road signs, among other causes. In tackling this menace that is claiming lives across Nigeria and incapacitating many, the Federal Road Safety Corps Zone 2 is reinforcing its commitment to ensuring safety of lives on roads within its jurisdiction. During the enforcement drive, over 30 trucks were impounded. This trailer driver is among those arrested for knocking down a road user and personnel of the Federal Road Safety Corps who was on duty. The victims have been taken to the nearest hospital for treatment. The leadership of the Federal Road Safety Corps says it will not relent until sanity is restored on roads across the country. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
The race for technology breakthrough as response to the coronavirus challenges has been embraced early enough, with success stories to tell for them. Achari Maxwell chronicles some of these innovations that now require upgrades and mass production for marketability.
Since the declaration of coronavirus as a global pandemic by the World Health Organization, concerns have grown higher, with medical experts asserting clearly that there is no known cure for the virus. Preventive measures such as regular hand washing, physical distancing, and wearing of face masks remain the surest safeguards against contracting the virus. Since then, organizations put on their thinking caps, especially in the production of personal protective equipment to complement government's effort. In this region, the Nigerian Defense Academy, the Nigerian Air Force, and the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria set the pace with their inventions of critical equipment for prevention and management of the virus.
So we believe that homegrown technology is better because you have these parts readily available, you have the knowledge to maintain it if there's any problem, and you have the capacity to build the number that you want to build without depending on somebody.
Hospitals like Barrow Dikko teaching hospitals were not left out as they ventured into the production of alcohol-based hand sanitizers and face masks.
For instance, we have the face mask as you can see on my face, which covers my mouth and nose. It's made from fabrics. It's made of 2 layers, and in between we have a filter at the center here. So, and we have made it and distributed to all of our staff in the hospital to wear whenever they're within the hospital premises and also outside the hospital premises.
As the global communities await the breakthrough for both cure and preventive vaccines against the deadly virus, experts still believe that staying at home, among other measures, remains the strongest weapon to win the war against COVID-19. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
A fire outbreak at the shoe section of Ariaria International Market in Abia State was this morning successfully contained by the artisans. Well, much damage had, however, been done to a story building used for the trade. Good News Chima Aga reports that the untimely arrival of men of the State Fire Service provoked violence at the scene.
Although the fire had been put out at the time the news crew arrived, it was a chaotic scene as an angry mob descended on the firefighters who were captured scampering for safety.
Somebody reported an fire outbreak around after 9. I now turned out my men down to the scene. Immediately we get to the scene on fire. Already the fire is already engulfed with fire. So they do not allow us. What we saw is beating. You can see my vehicle. You can see my vehicle. As I'm telling you right now, we are here about 5. I can't even search for 2 because I learned that they're now in hospital.
Aggrieved traders explained that phone calls made to the firefighting authority were not promptly responded to. Good loss to the inferno is estimated to be worth millions of naira. The cause of the fire could not be readily ascertained, but it was gathered that the affected building was also used for the sale of kerosene.
Can't talk exactly where this fire starts because we're selling kerosene here, which is calling bunkering, and some people smoothing work here, which is we calling smoothing, dressing this our shoe, and another man here giving lights. He have very big lister, different, more than 3-4 lister here, so we know exactly where this fire starting from.
Calm was, however, restored at the scene following the combined efforts of the Nigerian police and army. In Aba, Beauty Egobamie, NTA News.
Let's talk sports. Stakeholders have been reacting to the lift of ban on non-contact outdoor sports by the federal government. Olumide Oguntola is on Sports Update.
The National Coordinator of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Dr. Sani Aliyu, said the federal government approved use of recreational parks for supervised physical exercise only, while some selected outdoor non-contact sports are also approved.
This includes lawn tennis, table tennis, squash, badminton, and other non-contact outdoor communal activities. In the event that people are not certain, please contact the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports for further guidance.
And we believe very soon normal activities in all sporting activities will commence. More especially as we are having the Olympic qualifiers, that will also soon start. We are very, very grateful to the federal government.
We are putting in place some of the COVID-19 sport code and protocol so that we will resume our remaining program of activities of the year 2020.
This will enable our athletes train for the National Sports Festival and also the very, very important Olympic Games.
And as activities are gradually returning to sports sector, especially in Africa, the Nigerian Football Supporters Club has promised not to relent in its role of promoting unity in diversity in Nigeria and the world at large.
This is what they appreciate all around the world. Go to all the countries of the world. All other members of their own supporters club sing our songs because ours is a culture.
The President General of the club further affirmed that his members are ready for the post-COVID-19 era. From the foreign scene, quarter-final matches of this year's Europa League will be concluded on Tuesday when Shakhtar Donetsk takes on Barcelona, while Wolverhampton Wanderers will play against Sevilla. Meanwhile, attention will be shifted to UEFA Champions League quarter-final on Wednesday when Atlanta will trade tackles with Paris. Manchester City vs Lyon concludes the rounds of matches on Saturday. With Sports Update, Olumide Oguntola, NTA News.
That's Nationwide for today. We do appreciate your company with us. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.